the more time that's gone on, I've been more. I can't even get my words. We're a terrific stuff. But yeah, I have been for the longest time adamant that Trent is not going anywhere. But now I'm a little bit unsure. Welcome back to the LC Transfer Room. I'm joined today by Stu and Reese. My name is Lewis. If you haven't done it already, please make sure to click like and subscribe. We're almost at 11,000 subscribers. To get involved, make sure you could get involved. Roseboy Zay says Trent isn't going nowhere, blood. He would be crazy. I hope he did the blood justice because I feel like I'm I sound very posh British when I try and do it. But yeah. But Stu, how you doing, man? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just ticking along on a slow news day. Well, slow news-ish anyway.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. It's been a very, very slow day.
It has. Not a lot going on. Although the whole Trent and Van Dijk thing, I'm hoping it's going to get worked out. Optimistic, maybe.
No, but not Salah. No.
Looking at the headlines at the moment, I don't know why the Salah thing is a little bit quiet, and I find it a little bit weird that little story came out about the Saudi interest and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Timing is everything with all these sort of things. So I don't know. I find that a little bit strange, but seems that the club seems to be dragging their heels a little bit, and it's getting a little bit annoying.
No, I agree. I think that we'll get on to Salah in a bit later on. Just to a quick rundown before I carry on we're going to talk about Trent. Obviously, Real Madrid, he has made him his primary interest, but then there's other reports saying that he wants to stay. It just sounds like people are trying to fill a gap on a slow news day. That awkward spell between international football ending and Premier League football returning, just looking for space fillers. But yeah, I think what you touched on there, Salah, it's gone a bit quiet on that front bar. Obviously, the Saudi link. Salah sort of Van Dijk and Trent have had their rumours creeping along, whereas Salah just addressed it outright. And I think the only way to go then was down because he himself has spoke on it. So I think anyone else who talks on it, it's just going to be beneath that, if that makes sense. And it's going to sort of naturally slow down until things get agreed. And Reese, how you doing, man? You're good?
Yeah, I'm all good. I can't complain, to be fair. Like I said, just a working week. But yeah, I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah, good man. Good working week as well. And I mean, are you like, we'll get started right on the Trent thing because I think there's a lot to unpack with that. But how are you feeling about this whole, there's multiple reports saying he's going, he's staying. How are you feeling about it all?
I'm low-key confident. I'm not really paying attention to all the reports because everyone keeps talking about the same things over and over again. Obviously, I get it's content, but it's like, it's our opinions, but we're not really in control of it. From what it looks like they're trying to sort it out. My only frustration is that I don't really like that people are kind of putting this pressure on Edwards and Hughes, where it wasn't their fault to begin with. It was the people who were there beforehand. So if it doesn't work out, you can't really blame them because when they've come in there, they've had to deal with like a new manager, a new coaching team, a lot of transition. So obviously they're trying to sort it out, but it's three big players, and I do believe if two of them stay, I think the two, if they do stay, will be Van Dijk and Trent, and that's what it looks like. I don't think it will be Salah because I don't see them offering him the same money. And I don't think he's going to accept lower than that. So yeah, that's just my view personally.
Well, Joe, before I carry on with like the next questions, what do you, of those three, who do you think is going to sign new deals? You touched on Salah before, but what are you thinking of it
all? I'm personally trying to remain hopeful that all three will sign on. I think it's a difficult one. And Reese is right. We can't blame the likes of Edwards or Slot or anybody, for that matter, who's just come in. This solely lands on the people who are still at the club whilst Klopp was in charge, and they should never let this get to this point. They really shouldn't have. Even with Klopp leaving last season, I can understand if the players were a little bit tentative on agreeing new deals at that point because they didn't know which way it was going to go. But even still, it's Liverpool. It shouldn't have made that much of a difference, to be fair. And by the looks of it, all three players do want to stay. And as I said before, it looks like the club are the ones that have dragged their heels. So, yeah, something hasn't gone quite right on that side of things.
Well, it's yeah, you're absolutely. They're not fixing because the club wasn't broken before they came in, but it was in a sort of spell where we were signing strange players, and it didn't seem like there was much of a plan. And one thing that's really stood out to me is all three. I think you're right. I think all three do have the intention of staying, but they all want to stay for different reasons. So Salah has obviously he wants to prove that he can keep going at the highest level. He touched on that. He just said he's good to go. Van Dijk has said, "I want to be the captain at the club. You know, it's an honour to do it. I want to be there for a few years." So he's got that reason. And Trent is saying, you know, trophies. I want to win things. I want to touch on all that. And of those three, Trent's one, in my opinion, sounds the most like if it was three other players saying it, I'd be like, well, you're the one who can, you know, if you're not really that committed, you just want to win trophies, then you're the one of the three who can go. I'd rather have someone who wants to prove himself and someone who's the captain. So, but Trent is probably the one that I think most people want to stay, and it's really weird how this whole thing is working. Going through the reports because there's been a million things. So Fabrizio Romano said about 22 hours ago, Trent is apparently given his priority to Liverpool. Now, Stu, I'll keep it with you, but like, does that come across in the interviews that Trent's been given that we are his priority, so to speak?
I think that he's always stated that. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a Scouser. I read the quotes today, like sort of how he talked about Gerrard and things like that when he was growing up and coming through the youth system and all that sort of stuff. So it's all there. I do believe he still wants to stay at the club, but I don't think this is solely his fault that he's being put into this position. Again, I do think this is on the club more than anything else. I do think he will sign. I do. But I think more than anything, it doesn't bear thinking about, but if he does go in the summer and we end up letting that contract run until January and Real Madrid come in and sign him on a free transfer, the blame personally for me lies solely at the higher ups in the club. That's just my opinion on it, but I think that's where it should solely lie, not with Trent, but with the club.
What say for example that the club do everything right and they are offering him what he wants, but he's the one who's thinking, well, Real Madrid want me. You know, it's the possibly no, it is the most historic club in world football, arguably, if like Barcelona and stuff. I mean, at that point, is that still the club's fault, or is that more he's the one who's pushing for the move?
By that point, I would say it's a difficult one. Yeah, okay, it's more on his decision then to decide. But then you got to ask yourself, right, okay, we've let it run down into the last 8 to 12 months of his contract.
Yeah.
Again, this is on the club. Should never have got to this point in the first place. If we got him sorted at the start of last season, when he had 2 years to run on this, wouldn't he be talking about this? Wouldn't even be talking about it at all. It would be done and dusted. He would have had signed, say, a 5-6 year contract again, and it wouldn't even be thought of. But the fact that he has come into his last 12 months, and everybody knows when you're a top player and you let your contract run into that period, big clubs are always going to come sniffing around. So it's not a surprise, just put it that way. And he is a Real Madrid style player as well. That's the other downside of it. He would fit into that team quite well, unfortunately.
I suppose as well, Reese, like the injury to Carvajal now, who I think he's out for the season, or he's out for a good while. That's not going to help things, certainly, when they've got the prospect of getting him not only on, signing a player of his ability, but getting him on a free. I mean, we have to be realistic here. Real Madrid are probably going to come around and come knocking for him. And I'm curious, in your opinion, not because we obviously support Liverpool, we all love the club, and we want to be able to say, well, obviously we can convince him to stay because he's from Liverpool. But we've seen in the past, Gerrard nearly went to Chelsea. We've seen, Suarez eventually went to Barcelona, albeit in a different time, of course. But Liverpool probably doesn't have the same pull that club like Real Madrid does in terms of players wanting to further their career. Michael Owen is another example. So if Real Madrid do come around, what can we say to Trent to be like, this is the place for you, realistically?
Me personally, I think the one thing that we can hold on to is that he's a Scouser, which is what Stu mentioned before. He's from there. If he was a foreign player, then it would be very likely that he's going to leave. But from what it sounds like, he wants to stay. Obviously, I know you're talking about the interviews he's done. People are moaning about maybe wages and stuff, but he's a top player. Obviously, defensively, he's not the greatest, but in terms of what he offers on the ball, is very unique for someone with his skill set as a right back. But a lot of the interviews, all he's kind of talking about is that he's ambitious, which is there's nothing wrong with being ambitious. He wants to win. He wants to win trophies. Obviously, when he's weighing it up, he's like he said, a footballer's career is short. He's more looking at it like he doesn't want. He said something about he could win more trophies at Liverpool, or he could stay at Liverpool and he might not win no trophies ever again. You don't know. Whereas obviously at Real Madrid, even though I'm a Liverpool fan, at Real Madrid is kind of more guaranteed. So I can understand why he's weighing it up. But from the sounds of things, he's always sounded like he's committed to Liverpool. Obviously, we should never have allowed it to get to this situation. But like I said, I'm low key confident that I do believe he will stay. It sounds like they're trying to sort the contract out. If he does go, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I do believe Trent will stay.
Well, on that note, and Jay Muse has mentioned it, and there's a system, Jay Muse. I will get to the articles. Don't worry, we're getting there. We're getting there. Dave Oghoff has said talks are progressing well between Liverpool and Trent Alexander Arnold over a new deal. Apparently, the club are hoping to time down to a multi-year deal with confidence growing a deal can be reached. And then following that, obviously the priority thing comes up again, saying that Liverpool is the priority one, and he's not ruled out staying at Liverpool, although there remains a gap between the prospective wage offer and what he would accept. So money is still to play. Don't worry, it's fine. I'm awful at getting to the point. But yes, money is obviously still at play. He's obviously given the idea that he wants to win trophies. And like you said, Reece, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, mate. And the fact that someone commented on before saying that we should offer the contract. Oh, no, it was Jamie's actually. Let's extend Trent the day Madrid come to Anfield. With that in mind, Reece, say Madrid come to Anfield and, God forbid, smash us, we've seen what Madrid do in recent years. Is it important that we get the deal done before that match and prevent Trent from thinking, well, look at that team that we've just played, that might be the place to be?
I think losing to them wouldn't help, but I don't think it plays too much of a difference because we've lost to Real Madrid in the past and Trent has played. Obviously, we know what kind of team Real Madrid is. Obviously, they're a massive club, probably the biggest club in like the world in terms of clubs. But I don't really think that plays too much of a big deal. Ideally, yeah, we want to beat Real Madrid, but I don't. If he's going to go to Real Madrid, I don't think it's going to be determined based on if Liverpool beat Real Madrid. In terms of your question, where you said, should we hopefully get it done before then? Ideally, I would like it done tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to get done by that game. I do think if it does get done, it will be just before the end of the year. That's my view personally.
So, yeah, and I agree with that. I think that it's going to get done before January, personally. Stu, with all these new developments that are coming out today, obviously that we're in discussions with them and everything seems to be progressing well. When do you think this deal will be done? Do you think this is going to be a sooner rather than later kind of thing? Or do you think this is going to be a, look, we're not, with Michael Edwards and Julian Ward, etc., we're going to get the deal we want. It's probably going to last a few months or weeks even.
I personally think it'll all be done and dusted before the next international break, which I can't believe I'm actually saying another international break, but that's another story.
I know.
Yeah, I personally think then because we got Real Madrid right after that international break as well. And for me, it is an absolute necessity that we have to get that contract sorted, done and dusted before that Madrid game. I know some people won't play too much into it, but at the end of the day, we all know how the mainstream media works, and they'll be playing on it. If nothing has been sorted by that point, they'll be playing on it. And if, God forbid, we do get beat by them at Anfield, that'll just add more fuel to the fire, and it won't make things any easier. So for me, just from a PR standpoint, it has to be done before the next international break. If not, then I will really start to worry.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that one. I think that'd be my time frame. And you've got to think as well, Trent is not only going to be wanted by Madrid. I wouldn't be shocked if like Bayern Munich came in eventually and started making offers. They wanted Kyle Walker not too long ago. There is going to be big clubs. Obviously, I know we've got the power to be able to say no, etc. But City have an aging right back problem at the moment. Who's to say that he's not thinking, oof, obviously everything going on there, but Pep's still got pull, of course. He'd do really well in Pep's system. There's no argument that he couldn't possibly have his head turned there. Just for a bit of a pop quiz while we carry on, because I'm a bit of a football dork. 6 players have played for Liverpool and Real Madrid since 1992. Try not to cheat in the comments, but if you guys can type in the comments down below, who are the 6 players who have played for both Liverpool and Real Madrid since 1992? Now, obviously, Trent has dominated the news. That's pretty self-explanatory. Sticking with you, Stu.
Mm-hmm.
What are you offering him wage-wise? Because to put into perspective, Salah broke the wage cap last time when we gave him his new contract, and he's on £380,000 a week at the moment, so around about that mark. Yeah. What are you giving a Trent Alexander Arnold, vice captain, the age he is with the ability he has?
You got to think, obviously, a little bit of future-proofing as well. So, say he does sign a contract, 5-6 year deal. Say it's a 6-year deal. That takes him up to about 32. More than likely, would he move on from there or sign another contract? Who knows? But you got to leave a little bit of wiggle room in negotiation if he does want to go for one more like sort of bumper pay deal. So the max I'd probably go to is probably 275, 300. But he would have to be one of the highest paid players at the club. There's no doubt about that. Just again, like sort of star pull, the quality that he is. There's no other player like him in the world. And as much as I hate talking about player wages because I think they're stupidly astronomical, at this point in time, he has to be one of the top earners. So anywhere between 275 and 300, I think, in this day and age, is a fair deal for a world-class player, which he is.
And Reece, I mean, same question to you. And also, say if Trent is obviously getting his wage upped massively, because he will do in this contract, do we then have to up Van Dijk and Salah's pay? Or do you think there's a world where we can say to them, look, you're the age you are now, you need to stay where you are, it's just like a 2-year deal, we just want you to stay because you're important? Is that a world that exists?
If you weren't dealing with FSG and like Moneyball, then yeah. But like I said, I think 2 out of the 3, I want Salah to say, but it's very quiet with Salah. You can kind of see they're dealing with Trent and Van Dijk. Obviously, for all you know, they might sort Salah up, but I don't believe, because we've left ourselves in this position, I don't believe we're going to be able to keep all 3. I think Van Dijk, I think around 300,000. I know he's a similar age to Salah, a bit older, but out of the 3, Salah probably looks like the closest one to declining. Whereas similar to Stu, he said that Trent is kind of future-proofing as well, with him being a Scouser and vice captain and wanting to be future captain. I think I would offer him around 300,000, but I think Liverpool are gonna have to offer him at least 350. That's what I think, because there's rumors that they've offered him 250 already, and he said no. So,
yeah. No, I mean, around 300, I think would probably be. So Mo Salah is on 350 a week. That is currently the highest. You've then got Van Dijk just behind that.
And then what did you say? He's on 350, but you said 380 before. So is that with bonuses? It bumps it up to 380.
Yeah, I think I might have, because I've got 2 articles open, and I think the 381 might be wrong. I'm trying to find like a more accurate amount, but yeah, there is bonuses and stuff in it.
I think the 350 is probably more accurate.
I think
so Salah 350, Van Dijk 240.
I think with Salah, I just don't see them offering him the same wage, and because of his age, even though it's silly, but And I just see it as, because it's going to be one of his last contracts, I don't think he's going to want his money to go down. So I see, because we didn't sign certain players and we got rid of a couple players in the summer, I think those wages will be used for Trent and for Van Dijk. I don't think it will be used for all three. That's just me personally. That's how I feel. If in an ideal world, we should be able to keep all three of them, but like you said, we've seen how our club moves. They don't. It's money. They're more looking at how they can save money. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose Stu, obviously you touched on before, and you're clearly very passionate about, like, you know, you're happy to say the club is at fault for this, and I think that's something that a lot of people do sort of delude themselves of not doing. A lot of people go, nah, it's Liverpool, you know. And in your world, Stu, do you think there's a sort of thing where, say we didn't get Zubimendi in the summer, obviously we didn't get some of the targets that we wanted, but if we're able to sign these players, and especially Trent, in my opinion, on new deals, does that make this transfer window, i.e. the start of the summer window to where we are when they sign, does that make it a success, or are you still a bit disappointed with it?
I wouldn't say it would make it. It wouldn't. It would soften the blow, but I don't think it would make it a success. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It's not going to cover the fact that we didn't sign anybody, or our main target that we went for decided he wanted to stay in the lovely hills of the Pyrenees and all that sort of stuff. I think getting the contract sorted out, it's almost like a separate issue, but I suppose it would soften the blow a little bit, because especially the Trent situation, that is the most important one. But I think the summer transfer window was always going to be difficult anyway, just because of the transition that we were going through. So it was always made more difficult because of that. The contracts always have to be a priority more than anything else.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I mean, Konate's contract's progressing. Kwanzaa's contract's been done. So Diaz is another one in discussion. So there is conversation, but are you surprised, Stu, that we're signing those players onto deals before we're maybe focusing on these three, or do you think that it's just there's a lot more to discuss with these three key players in the squad?
I must admit that did irk me a little bit. I mean, okay, the contract for Kwanzaa especially is probably a little bit more simplified because he's a young lad. He's only had one season under his belt-ish. Young up-and-coming player, so that's probably a little bit easier to negotiate, but that was done very, very quickly, and this Konate one has been done relatively quickly. I think it just highlights the background issue of things weren't perhaps working right in the boardroom or in that management section until we've had Edwards and Richard Hughes come in, and now they're sorting these things out quickly. I can pretty much guarantee if we had Edwards, especially in last season, we wouldn't be at this point at all.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't let it happen, which is why I think like the speed of the Konate deal and Kwanzaa signing, I think that is a factor. But it does make me wonder why we can't get Van Dijk, Salah, and Trent sorted out just as quick. I know that there's going to be some to-ing and fro-ing in negotiations, but I just think it's dragged on a little bit too long, more than anything else.
And I mean, I've said it before on this, that this situation reminds me very much of an Arsenal towards the end of Arsene Wenger's time, and maybe even during Unai Emery's reign, where you'd have key players, Alexis Sanchez, Robin Van Persie, all these key players running down their contracts. Ozil and Sanchez obviously left for free. Sanchez was in a swap deal with Mkhitaryan, yeah, fair enough, but we gave them criticism after criticism for that. And Reece, like, obviously the club's going to have done their due diligence and they're going to have said, like, we know what the offer is, but in, I suppose, that old cliche way, no player is bigger than the club. But if we were to lose all three of them on a free, if we were to lose all three of those key players in one go, how much of a decline, if any, could you see from the club going into next season?
I think first of all, that's very bad business if we lose all three, because that's our spine. I do think it will be a setback, I don't think we'll fall off a cliff, but I do think it will be a setback that we don't really need. Like I said, we shouldn't be in this position in the first place. But yeah, I'm like I said, I'm trying to stay positive because ideally, I'm not even thinking about losing all three. I'm hoping, ideally, I would like to keep all three, but I do believe at least one. But if we lost all three, I think that would be a setback that the team don't need. Slot doesn't need that as being a new manager, and us as the fans, we don't really need or deserve that either.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And there's a lot of comments that have been coming through. I gave a little pop quiz before. Who are the 6 players who played for both Real Madrid and Liverpool since 1992? Jamie Hughes came close. He put Owen, Maka, Xavi, and Dudek. There was also Fabinho. He played at Real Madrid for a short stint and obviously came to us. And the last one was Fernando Morientes, who is one of my most frustrating players ever. He obviously came to us not long after he won the Champions League back in the early 2000s. Well, mid 2000s kind of period. Didn't do great. Let's just leave it at that. There's a comment saying, do the lineup prediction and pre-match analysis. That'll be Saturday. That'll be Saturday because the match is on Sunday. So whoever it is who's hosting that stream, they'll be going over all that. So if you tune back in then, same time, same place, you'll get to see that one on Saturday. Question for panel. Name one recent player who's left LFC and been a better player. Stu, I mean, I'll let you have a go at this, and Reese, I'll let you have a go as well. Everyone can jump in if they want, but I can only probably, when we say recent times, I'm assuming we're going from like the start of the clock periods, because I think a lot of people who left that Brendan Rodgers Liverpool probably did get better. Let's face it, bar maybe one or two. So anyone springing to mind?
What was the question? Sorry, who's been?
So name one recent player who's left Liverpool and actually got better. I've maybe only got one or two. You guys jump in. I'm going to get the list up and see if I can sort of refresh my memory.
Oh, bloody hell. I would... Sterling, maybe?
Yeah, Sterling's a good shout. Sterling's a really good shout, actually.
Perhaps not now, but when he went to City.
No, just not now. No,
Definitely not now. But like, so when he left us and went to City, then yeah, that's what. Damn, I'm trying to think of other players. There's not many. We haven't really sold in recent times too many first team players.
I mean,
does it have to be first team? Or does it?
No, because I've got a list of young players like João Teixeira. You could say is one who definitely got better. Sergio Caminhos is one. So anyone
Suso.
that you can say.
If it was a young player, you could say Suso, because we shouldn't have really let him
Suso,
go.
yeah.
Suso, yeah, he's a good shout. I mean, Harry Wilson. Harry Wilson could be one who you could say he's left. He's definitely done much better at Fulham and every loan club that he's gone to. Taiwo Awoniyi, he's another one maybe.
Another one I was going to say was Nico Williams.
Oh yeah,
Nico.
Playing regularly at Forest, and obviously he's playing more for Wales as well. Obviously, I know he's not a better team, but he's progressing from what it looks like. Maybe Liverpool wasn't his level.
Oh, I think the perfect one. Sorry, I've gone through the list. Dominic Solanke. He's one who's definitely left, and he's got miles better since he left us. Which is Solanke was talented. He didn't fit Klopp, and it was always a bit of a weird sign. And Luis Alberto as well. He's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, I mean, there's not many. Aspas. It is an odd. It is. We seem to sell at the right time. I suppose we'll touch on this at the moment, Stu, because it does sort of link into what we're saying with contracts before we move on to the next topic. But we always do seem to sell at the right time.
Yeah.
Is it the right time for any of these three to be leaving?
Not all at the same time. Yeah, but for me personally, all three going at the same time would be catastrophic for the club.
Okay.
PR wise, progression wise, signaling to other players who might be thinking, oh, there's a transfer offer on the table, and all of a sudden they just let these three go. It puts doubts in people's heads that shouldn't really need to be there. So yeah, I think all three going at the same time. I don't like that idea at all.
No, not at all. I think we're all in agreement. Like we spoke about Trent and Salah and Van Dijk now, so we are going to move on. If anyone has missed it, basically we just want them all to stay, and we're not too sure that Salah's going to stay. But Trent, according to reports, just to finish up on it, Madrid do have strong interest. They are definitely after a right back after the injury to Danny Carvajal, but Trent's priority is supposedly Liverpool, and apparently contract talks have started. Why they haven't started already, I don't know if this is true, but it is what it is. So we're going to move on. It has been a very quiet news day, but I suppose we'll touch on Salah first, and then we'll touch on the Adidas stuff later on, because the sporting director, let me see if I can find the story here really quick on the LSU Transfer Room Twitter. SBL director of football, Michael Emanalo. I'm going to actually present my screen because I love doing it. It's really fun. Let me just get this brand off. There we go. Spot on. So, according to reports, the SPL director of football, Michael Emanalo, on Mohamed Salah interest via the Obi-Wan podcast. That's a class name. That's such a good name. I love it. I think it depends on Mo. The stories that our teams went after him were true. It is true. There was an interest, but just like Osserman, it's okay for me to have an interest in signing Mo, but the club have to have an interest in letting him go. And if those things don't align, you don't have a deal. Fundamentally, Liverpool didn't want to sell, and what price were we willing to buy at? I didn't feel the player was ready to come because he felt like he had unfinished business. Now, that to me is really interesting. I'll go to you first, Reese, because what I'm hearing a few different things from that. The first one is obviously Dave said we didn't want to sell, they wanted them. We knew that all along, but what has Salah got to prove realistically? Because he's won everything he can at us. He's broken virtually almost every record. Is this he's got stuff to prove to us, or is this he just wants to prove people wrong in the sense of he can't go at the same level that he always has? Like, what do you think on it?
I don't think he has nothing to prove. Because like you said, he's practically achieved everything at Liverpool. I just think because he's ambitious and he wants to win at the highest level, he wants to stay at Liverpool. So he probably feels similar to someone like Ronaldo, even though Ronaldo's past it, for me personally, that he can still do it at this level. I don't think he has to prove nothing to no one, but obviously you're always gonna have haters and doubters. I just think he probably feels he can still win a few more major trophies at Liverpool. Obviously, we've got a new manager. If we're able to keep Trent and Van Dijk as well, and build and sign other players, he can probably add more to his legacy. So, yeah, I don't think he has to prove nothing. But you got to remember, he's a top athlete, and he's always like trying to break new records and set new targets for himself. So, absolutely, that's why for me he hasn't gone yet, because he could have went Saudi and got crazy money, but he didn't go because money's not everything. Obviously, he's earning nice money, but he first and foremost he wants to play at the highest level and win trophies at the highest level, and obviously he loves Liverpool. So yeah.
I suppose you look at what's happened to a lot of players over in Saudi, Mane, Firmino, just to name the two who played for us. There's obviously a lot more.
Yeah.
He's dodged the bullet in a sense. But I'll ask you this, Reese, and then Stu, I'll give you free round everything. But did we dodge a bullet keeping him, or going back now, looking back in hindsight, we didn't get Salah did fantastic last season, but did that season justify us missing out on £200 million potentially and losing him on a free?
I'm not sure. That's tricky because I felt, we could have sold him, but we didn't have a replacement, and we haven't had a replacement throughout Klopp's whole reign. Obviously, in the past, where he didn't have someone that would come in when he wasn't playing well, or to give him a break, or to give him a rest, or to rotate him. So it's kind of tricky. Even though, we could have, we kind of do things backwards, where we should have got someone in first, and then you've kind of got all the chips at your disposal, where you can decide if you want to sell him. Whereas instead, we kind of didn't have no one. So that's why I don't think they let him go, for me.
Stu, I mean, what do you make on this whole Salah, what's obviously been said about him? And the same question to you. Going back now, looking back, did we dodge a bullet by not selling him, or in hindsight, would it have made sense to at the moment?
No, but like we said, we didn't have a replacement for him.
Yeah.
We still don't. Okay, yeah, we got Chiesa in, who's a fantastic signing for the price that we got, but to find the next Salah is going to take somebody very special to fill those boots. The key thing I'll take away from it, like, so especially from last summer, where obviously the Saudi offer did come in, but he flat out didn't want to do it. I think that came in sort of twofold. It's a cautionary tale of seeing like sort of Firmino and Mane and Fabinho over in Saudi and seeing how they're getting on and those bits and pieces. But also the key thing for him, and it's something I picked up in an interview with him a couple of months back that he did with Sky, and he was talking about his family and how influential his wife and his kids are and how happy they are and settled they are where they are. And he stated he didn't want to like sort of dredge all that up and pack everything up, and he's happy. So again, with the contract side of things, it may be just a bit clickbaity news story, slow news week, dredging some stuff up, where in reality, Edwards is looking at it and going, 3-year contract, get that signed. That gives us 2 to 3 years to think of a replacement, find a replacement, send out the scouts, all that sort of stuff, unless we get somebody through the youth system to replace him. Who knows? But I think Edwards will be treating that as a priority as well. So I do think he will sign it. I haven't seen any indication in any interviews that he's thinking otherwise. So
yeah,
he's the one I actually, weirdly enough, feel most confident for to sign than anything else.
So because I think Reese, did you say Trent was the one you were the most confident in signing before?
I said Trent and Van Dijk. That's what I said.
Yeah, because I said Van Dijk.
I still think Van Dijk will be first, then Trent. Ideally, like I said, I would like Salah to stay as well. But if you're adding up the maths in terms of money, I don't see them offering Salah the same amount. He might even want more, and I know they're definitely not going to give him more. And I also don't think they're going to offer him the length that he probably wants. They might offer him a year. He'll probably want at least 2 years. Yeah.
But personally, I'd say that you should be getting a 3-year contract. The same with Van Dijk, 3 years for both of them. Because in this day and age, the way football is, you can't write players off. And now, if they keep extremely fit, and on top of things, which Salah is just an absolute robot, he can keep easily going to like Ronaldo levels. Easy. No problem at all. The club has to realise that as well. 3-year contract is no brainer in my mind for him. But
I mean, by that point, he'll be 36. Yep. So, I mean, you'd have to think that is going to factor in their mind of, sorry, we're back on contract talk, but you will have to think, when was the last time Liverpool kept someone towards that age, and especially on that type of money? James Milner's the only one that springs to mind for me recently, but that will factor in surely, won't it, Stu?
Yeah, I mean, age will factor into it. But then again, you got a player of Salah's reputation. The only thing that's missing from his trophy cabinet is a Ballon d'Or. He's had everything else.
Yeah.
How many players have we got like that at the club?
I'd say Ballon d'Or, and I'd say African Cup of Nations of Egypt.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, yeah. I forgot about that as well.
Yeah.
But
you're right. You're right.
You think about it, like, so every team, every club dreams of having talismanic players. And when they do get those players, they never ever want to let them go because of the reputation, the money it brings into the club, the overall play. Salah has been that for the last 8 years. And I think to let him go on a free, if it's his own wishes, then fair enough. But if it's our mess up, then it is almost unforgivable for the club to do that, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, Salah for me, and I've always stand by it, I think of those 3 players, Trent could obviously surpass him in a sense, but Salah is the one who the day he leaves, he needs a statue, or the legends like walk on the left hand side. We've got the benches. He needs to be on there. He needs to have something to recognize just how much he's done for this club, because he is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the greatest players in this club's history. And I think often in modern day, because we see the talent that players produce and the ability that a lot of them have, people can go under the radar. There's not your big players that stand out anymore. And because we've got such a talented squad, if this was a few years back and Salah was doing this, before obviously we got to the level we are, he'd be renowned as arguably the greatest player in this club's history. He deserves something when he leaves, and he needs to be able to stick around long enough, in my opinion, to get that tribunal, because he's an absolute club legend. The records he's broke: fastest hat trick in a Champions League match, most Champions League goals for an English club. He's in our top 10 goal scorers list. He's broke every record almost, like his Liverpool records. Most goals in debut season, most European goals in a season, most games scored during a single campaign, most top flight goals by a Liverpool player in a season. Like, he's out of this world. And stats wise, honestly, there's so many I could get on this. And it's another thing that you mentioned. Obviously, we touched on the age, but you look at the actual stats of Salah. This is amongst Europe's top 5 leagues. This is including Champions League. This is including Europa League, the top 5 leagues. So obviously Germany, Italy, Spain, England, and I've forgotten the other, France. Might not be France, but yeah, I've completely gone blank. But top 93%, 99, 99, 97, 95, 99, 81, 71, 99, 94. His stats wise, he's so out of this world, and he's one of those players who can be poor in a match, but he still gets a goal. He still produces. He still does something. And Reese, I mean, this to me, does this sound like Saudi have given up on Salah, or do you think that this is them basically saying, no, we're still around. We've not gone anywhere. It's just at the time things didn't line up.
I think they're still around, but obviously, based on how much they offered at the time, and obviously you could leave on a free. It's not as hot a deal as what it was maybe like a year ago or so. They're still there, but they're kind of saying the ball's in his court. It's kind of always been his court, and they also said it depends if we want to let him go. So that's personally, it's still, like I said, the option's still there. But like you said, at the time when they were talking about it before, it was like hot. It was like the hot topic kind of thing, and obviously that amount they were willing to offer, which was like between 100 and 200 million for his age at the time. No one else was willing to offer that, apart from them. But yeah, they're still interested, but it's not as big of a deal as it was maybe a year ago.
Well, we're going to move on into the final topic. This will only be a short one. If anyone's got any questions that they want to put in, get involved. Let us know in the comments down below anything that you want us to answer, or just anything that you want to ask, any trivia, just go for it. Because we're going to talk about Adidas. Obviously, Liverpool have had 2 stints with Adidas in the past. They were our shirt sponsor from 1985 to 1996 and 2006 to 2012. And I would say they've produced some of our nicest kits. Well, it's been leaked today. Leaked. This is it's always leaked when football kits come out before, and we all have to go, oh, well, that's nice, and it doesn't look anything like that. But supposedly, this is what the leaked kit is going to look like. I can't get rid of the ads on the screen, but it is what it is. Don't sue me. This is the supposed leaked kit on the left. It's a throwback to our 2007 kit, I believe it is. And no, sorry, 2007, 2009. I'm getting all my years mixed up. But supposedly this is what our kit's going to look like. Stu, I mean, the football kits are something that always sort of divide opinion. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got their favourite. What do you make of this look for an Adidas kit? And do you have a personal preference on a favourite kit?
If it looks anything like that, I'll be very happy with it. I like that. If it ends up like that, and that is a true representation of what we're going to end up with, or thereabouts, and that's the influence we're taking off from that 2008, 2009 period. I'm more than happy with that because that was one of my favorite kits. So I'm very happy with that one, and I do like Adidas were my favorite. Although I'm not saying like sort of the other sponsors, Nike have had a couple of decent kits over the years. Personally, like the yellow one in the background of yours. I had that.
Oh, yes,
I've got that
yeah.
one. Yeah, the yellow one.
Going the wrong way.
Yeah, that one. I love that one.
Yep.
I had that one. The black one this year, I think is really, really nice as well. But it's been very hit and miss, whereas Adidas have got a very good, steady record of producing decent kits for us. So if it ends up like that, and I've just seen the picture for the away one potentially as well, and I quite like the look of that, to be fair.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, it looks all right.
I'll see if I can find it. I mean, yeah, I agree. Nike have dropped the ball at points. I think this kit this season is the worst kit we've ever had in the Premier League. Personally, I absolutely hate this kit.
Oh, what the home shirt?
Home kit. I cannot stand it. I think it is. I've done a thing on my channel where like I've ranked every single one, and this is rock bottom. I absolutely hate this kit this season, but I quite like the one from 2020, 2021. That was nice. The season after we won the league. Reese, I mean, what have you got a favorite kit, or have you got like a worse kit? I mean, this stuff's always just a bit of fun, but like, have you got a kit in particular during the Premier League era where you look at it and just think, what is that? That's horrible.
With Nike, I do agree with you that it's kind of been underwhelming with them. When you think about obviously the deal at the time, I think it was more the money that we were going to make and obviously the brand Nike. But in terms of the designs, I just think they tried to overcomplicate it, where sometimes you don't need to change so much, just need to keep it simple. Like the design right now, like what Stu said, is similar to the old Adidas. I kind of like the simple design. You don't have to overdo it because sometimes that ruins it. I like the yellow one you have in the back. One of the ones, I don't know if that was Nike or not, or if it was someone else. The creamy away kit, the white one. I don't know if you don't remember that
one.
Yeah, the Acru
one from like a few seasons.
Yeah.
I really like that one. It's very like clean. You can wear that with a lot of things because of the color. The black one with the blue outline. I kind of like that one. The Allison black goalie kit one. I can't remember a few other ones off the top of my head, but yeah. In terms of the Nike, I haven't really been too fast. I haven't really bought none of the kits either because of the prices and because of the designs. They look like they've kind of overdone it. They've tried to be too clever. Like I've said, I prefer the simple designs personally.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Like it doesn't need to be too flash. I just like it when it's just a simple, like the one where we won the Champions League in 2019. I really like that kit because it's a bit darker than I suppose what your traditional red is, but it's simple and you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. Like I've got the list of all the old kits just in front of me, and some of them are absolutely, like, I'll share screen it in a moment, but some of them are absolutely awful. Some of the kits,
some of the ones that we have from New Warrior. Oof.
Yeah. Well, the 12-13, I think it was, and it looked like it was made out of red ticker tape. Like it looked absolutely dreadful. I'll square the.
Wasn't it New Warrior that did a purple, orange, and grey one or something like that?
So they did those horrible. It was the 13-14 season, and they had the horrible away kit, which was like the weird checkered pattern at the bottom in red, and it faded, and then they had that horrible third strip where it was different panels. Yeah, it was absolutely awful.
No,
and I mean, I'll see if I can find the I'll share on the screen now for you, just because it's easy for everyone to see. But this is like a website like I use quite a bit, and it literally just shows you every kit that we've had. And I mean, some of them are lovely. So the one that we are apparently basing this next kit on next season is the 2006-2007 kit. That one there. So obviously that was the season we got to the Champions League final and we lost it to Milan, not 2005, but 2 seasons later. But like these are the horrible, like the Warrior ones that you touched on. And I mean, Reese, like with kits, I think there's a desire for people more so now than recently. It's either they're trying to create something new or they're trying to go back to an old style and trying to sort of make it like a modern day thing. What is, in your eyes, do you like a kit that's a bit sort of out there, or do you just want it to be a simple, straight to the point, just it is what it is kind of kit?
Majority of the time, I prefer it to be simple. Obviously, I get trying to switch it up or you might try something different, but it's got to make sense. It's kind of, and with Nike, a lot of the time, like I said, it was underwhelming. A lot of the time, you don't need to change it too much because, just ideally, I prefer it simple. Sometimes it works when you change it quite a bit and you go a bit more lavish or you go a bit more out there. But most of the time, you're kind of overdoing it. I kind of just prefer the simple little details or patterns. For me, is perfect.
Jay Muse makes a really good point, actually. Speaking of kit, does FSG know how much revenue they'd lose in kit sale if these 3 players leave? And that's actually a really good point. I never even thought of that. Like, you're losing out on, and especially Salah, he's such a key figure in reaching a demographic of the world that Liverpool maybe struggles with at points. I mean, Stu, we're back on contract talk, but does that have to factor in? Do all these additional little bits have to come into play?
Yeah, if you look at it like sort of shirt sales figures, I haven't seen the stats, but I would imagine that those 3 players alone are probably in the top 5 sellers of the club. I would imagine because they're household names. But as you say as well, especially with Salah, he puts you into not just the African demographic, but the Muslim demographic as well. So that's virtually 2 continents worth of people in the world that you're branching out commercially to, that you could potentially be losing out on money for. That's a huge market. That's a massive market. It's worth millions. Going to be worth millions just on Salah alone. Let alone obviously Trent and Van Dijk. It's commercially it'd be a huge loss, to say the least.
So, of the past 365 days, the top shirt sales for Liverpool are Mohamed Salah's number 1. Luis Diaz is number 2, which is a little bit of a shock. Darwin Nunez is number 3. Trent Alexander Arnold is number 4. Virgil van Dijk is number 5. So these 3 players are in the top 5. Obviously, Diaz and Nunez aren't in this whole contract situation deal, but we would miss out massively. And Salah in particular just reaches that key part of the world that no one else really can. Are we happy then with the Adidas change? Obviously, kits, you can only say so much, but like, are we happy the fact that we've gone from Nike, who it's been like 1 season on, 2 seasons off, to Adidas, who have got such a good track record, especially for football kits?
Definitely. I'm happy with it, without a doubt. I don't understand why we had the contract cancelled in the first place, to be fair.
I think Liverpool and Adidas are a better suit for each other. Obviously, they've worked together before, so I prefer the Adidas. I'm kind of looking forward to the Adidas kits again.
Well, I mean, the list of clubs that Adidas actually make kits for, just trying to see if I can find it here. So Real Madrid is a big one that they've done. They've also done Bayern Munich in the past. They've done Man United, Juventus, like Ajax. They currently do at the moment. Arsenal, Argentina. Like, they do nice kits. Like, they are a proper. They know what they're doing, and they
Here's another commercial point, actually, as well. Trent signing his contract with his personal contract with Adidas as well.
Yeah.
How does that come in? I wonder if that affects anything on that side of things as well. With them coming in to be club sponsor, they're already club sponsor of Real Madrid, but they are the personal sponsor of Trent all crosses over each other. So
Yeah.
will that have any influence on it as well?
Well, look at Mbappe, like all the deals he was involved with when he was at PSG. Neymar had hotels bought for him in his contract at PSG. It all plays a part, and money talks in football, as sad as it is nowadays. But you know, it is what JMU's most seen kit in airports is Argentina. Yeah, sure. I don't really go many airports, but yeah, that is going to wrap it up, guys. Odin completely agrees, and Odin's actually here with me. It's Stu. I completely forgot that. Then I had a proper little moment. Then that is Stu. Odin Whitehair. But yeah, that is going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much, Stu and Reese, for coming on. Obviously, the main talking points today, we just sort of waffled about Adidas kits for the past like 15 minutes. But Trent Alexander Arnold, go Madrid, not go Madrid, sign a new contract, not sign a new contract. It's still up in the air, but the latest is that he is in discussions for a brand new one. So keep your eye on that. Mo Salah is trying to be poached again by Saudi or something along those lines. They're saying they were interested in him, but we weren't interested. Jay Muser said 4-2 to Liverpool on Sunday. I hope so. I really do hope so, because Chelsea do my head in. Also, don't believe Spanish PR headlines. But make sure everyone clicks like and subscribe. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same place. It'll be different people, but they won't be as good as us, let's be honest. Thank you, Stu and Reese, for coming on again. We'll see you all, guys, in the next